The dim glow of candlelight flickered across the polished wooden tables of La Bella Vita, an Italian restaurant tucked away in the heart of the city. Marcus Johnson adjusted his tie for the third time, his calloused hands worn from years of fixing cars and chasing after his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, betraying the nerves he tried so hard to hide. At 38, he was a single dad, a role thrust upon him after his wife, Sarah, had passed away 3 years ago in a car accident that still haunted his dreams. His friends, well-meaning but persistent, had orchestrated this blind date, insisting he needed to get back out there. They described her as sweet, funny, and full of life, but Marcus couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. What if she didn't understand the chaos of his world? What if she saw him as just another broken man with baggage? He glanced at his watch, 7:58 p.m. The reservation was for 8. The restaurant buzzed with soft conversations, the clink of wine glasses, and the aroma of garlic and fresh basil wafting from the kitchen. A waiter in a crisp white shirt approached him, refilling his water glass. "Expecting someone special tonight, sir?" the young man asked with a knowing smile. Marcus nodded, forcing a grin. "Yeah, blind date. First one in, well, forever." His deep voice carried a hint of southern drawl, a remnant from his childhood in Georgia before moving to Chicago for work. He smoothed his shirt, a simple blue button-down that hugged his athletic frame, built from gym sessions squeezed in between Lily's bedtime stories and early morning shifts at the auto shop. He wasn't vain, but he knew he looked good. Dark skin glowing under the warm lights, a neatly trimmed beard framing his strong jaw. But looks weren't everything. His heart was a fortress, guarded by memories of Sarah and the fierce protectiveness he felt for Lily. As the clock struck 8, the door swung open, letting in a gust of cool evening air. Marcus's eyes darted toward it, and there she was, Elena Ramirez, though he didn't know her name yet. She paused in the entrance, scanning the room with wide, uncertain eyes. She was beautiful in a way that caught him off guard. Long, wavy black hair cascading over her shoulders, warm brown skin that spoke of Latin heritage, and a smile that lit up her full face despite the hesitation in her step. But what his friends had omitted, or perhaps what society whispered, was her size. Elena was obese, her curves generous and unapologetic, dressed in a flowing red dress that accentuated her figure rather than hiding it. She carried herself with a quiet confidence, but Marcus could see the subtle flicker of doubt in her eyes as heads turned, some stares lingering a beat too long. The host greeted her, and she mentioned the reservation under Johnson. Marcus stood as she approached, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. Was this a setup? His friends knew his type. Sarah had been slender, athletic, a runner like him. But as Elena drew nearer, he pushed the thought aside. No judgments, he reminded himself. Life had taught him better than that. "Hi, you must be Marcus," she said, her voice soft and melodic, with a slight accent that hinted at Spanish roots. She extended a hand, her nails painted a vibrant red to match her dress. He took it gently, feeling the warmth of her palm. "That's me. And you are—" "Elena. Nice to meet you." She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. There was a guardedness there, as if she'd been here before, on dates where the surprise in a man's eyes turned to disappointment. They sat, the waiter promptly arriving with menus. Marcus tried to ease into small talk. "So my friends didn't tell me much about you. What do you do?" Elena unfolded her napkin, placing it on her lap. "I'm a teacher, 2nd grade. Love the kids. They're full of energy and no filters." She laughed lightly, but her eyes darted to his face, searching for any sign of retreat. Marcus nodded genuinely. "That's great. My daughter Lily's in 1st grade. She's a handful, always drawing pictures of superheroes saving the day." He pulled out his phone instinctively, showing a photo of Lily with pigtails and a gap-toothed grin, holding up a crayon masterpiece. Elena's face softened as she leaned in. "She's adorable. Look at those eyes. They're just like yours." The compliment was sincere, and for a moment the tension eased. They ordered appetizers, bruschetta for him, stuffed mushrooms for her, and wine, a light red, to share. As the conversation flowed, Marcus found himself opening up more than he expected. He talked about his job at the garage, how he loved the puzzle of engines, but hated the grease that never quite washed off. Elena shared stories of her classroom antics, like the time a student brought a frog in his pocket and chaos ensued. Laughter bubbled up between them, genuine and easy. But beneath it, suspense hung in the air like a storm cloud. Marcus sensed her wariness. Every time the waiter passed or a couple at a nearby table glanced their way, she seemed to shrink a little. Halfway through the appetizers, Elena set down her fork, her expression turning serious. "Look, Marcus, I have to be honest. Your friends probably didn't mention, well, me." She gestured vaguely at herself, her cheeks flushing. "I'm not what most guys expect on a blind date. If this isn't your thing, I get it. No hard feelings." The words hit him like a punch. Suspense built in his chest. Was this the moment it all unraveled? He paused, sipping his wine to buy time. Memories flooded back. Sarah's battle with cancer before the accident, how her body had changed, wasted away, and how he'd loved her more fiercely through it all. Beauty wasn't in sizes or shapes, it was in the soul. But how to say that without sounding cliché? "Elena," he started, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "Last year, 3 years ago, I lost my wife. Sarah was everything to me. Strong, beautiful, the kind of woman who could light up a room. But toward the end, she wasn't the same physically. Cancer took that from her. And you know what? I didn't care. I loved her for who she was, not what she looked like."
Elena's eyes widened, a sheen of tears forming. The restaurant noise faded into the background, the world narrowing to just their table. Suspense thickened. Would she pull away or lean in? He continued, his words pouring out like a dam breaking. "Lily asks about her mom every night. I tell her stories, show her pictures. But lately, she's been asking why Daddy doesn't have someone to hug like Mommy used to hug me. It breaks my heart. So when my buddies pushed this date, I thought, why not? Life's too short for superficial stuff." Elena wiped at her eye, her voice trembling. "Marcus, I'm so sorry about Sarah. But me? I'm not just big. I've got scars, too. My ex left because he couldn't handle the stares, the comments, said I embarrassed him at parties. I've tried diets, gyms, everything. But this is me, curves and all. I teach kids to love themselves, but sometimes I forget to do it myself." The vulnerability in her words gripped him. He reached across the table, hesitating before taking her hand. Her skin was soft, warm, and he felt a spark he hadn't in years. "Elena, listen. The world is full of idiots who judge books by covers, but I'm not one of them. When you walked in, I saw a woman with fire in her eyes, someone who's probably fought battles I can't imagine. That's attractive. That's real." Tears spilled down her cheeks now, and Marcus felt his own eyes sting. The waiter hovered nearby, sensing the intensity, but Marcus waved him off politely. Around them, diners began to notice. The couple at the next table whispered, a woman dabbing her eyes as if overhearing. But Marcus didn't care. This moment was raw, unfiltered. "Tell me more about you," he urged, squeezing her hand. "What makes Elena tick? What's your story?" She took a shaky breath, the suspense of her revelation building. "I grew up in a big family, 5 siblings, all loud and loving, but I was the big one, always. Kids teased me, called me names. It toughened me up, made me kind to others who hurt. Teaching? It's my way of giving back."